In a small village tucked away between rolling hills, there was a curious sign that caught the attention of everyone who passed by. "Husband for sale," it read, written in large, bold letters on a worn wooden board outside an old cottage. The people who saw it couldn't believe their eyes. Who would sell their husband? And why? Lena, the woman who lived in the cottage, was a kind-hearted soul, but she was tired. Tired of the heavy burden of her marriage, the never-ending chores, and the lack of appreciation she received from her husband, Tom. Tom was a kind man at heart, but he was also lazy, forgetful, and often left Lena to manage everything on her own. One sunny morning, after a long night of arguing about the state of their house, Lena had an idea. She walked to the local market, found a piece of wood, and carved the sign herself. She hung it outside, feeling a strange sense of relief. Maybe this would send a message to Tom, or perhaps to the village. The first few days were quiet. People passed by, glanced at the sign, and shook their heads. What kind of woman would sell her husband, they whispered among themselves. But as time went on, the sign began to attract more attention. Curious villagers came by, eager to know more about the strange woman and her peculiar offering. Tom, of course, was furious when he first saw the sign. "What do you mean, for sale?" he shouted at Lena. "You can't just sell me like a goat at the market." Lena, sitting calmly on the porch, simply replied, "I'm not selling you, Tom. I'm just making a statement. Maybe you'll understand when someone else comes by and offers to take you off my hands." Tom's pride was hurt, but he couldn't deny that he had been less of a husband and more of a burden. He tried to make excuses, but deep down, he knew Lena was right. He had taken her for granted for too long. The villagers, initially baffled, began to offer suggestions. Some thought Lena was joking, others speculated about her intentions, while a few even admired her courage. One afternoon, a neighbor named Mrs. Harper, who had witnessed years of Tom's laziness, approached Lena. "You know, dear, I think you deserve better than him," Mrs. Harper said kindly. "But have you ever thought of teaching him to appreciate you?" Lena smiled faintly. "I've tried. Many times. But sometimes, people need a wake-up call." As the days passed, Tom grew restless. He saw how his wife's strength and independence were admired by others, while his own shortcomings were becoming more obvious. One evening, he sat down beside Lena, his head hung low. "I'm sorry, Lena. I never realized how much I was taking you for granted," he admitted, his voice sincere. "I want to change. I'll do better, I promise." Lena looked at him, her heart softening. "I've always loved you, Tom. But love isn't enough if one person is doing all the work." Tom nodded. "I'll help more. I'll be the partner you deserve." And so, the sign came down. Tom worked hard to prove his words, slowly earning back Lena's trust. Over time, their relationship grew stronger, built on mutual respect and understanding. Lena never regretted her decision to hang the sign. It had been the catalyst for change, a moment of clarity in their marriage. And from that day on, when people passed by the cottage, they no longer saw the strange sign. Instead, they saw a couple working together, side by side, with a love that had been rekindled by a simple, bold gesture.